I thought I'd try something. Don't know if I'll ever post this, but I feel like I have this desire to connect with my friends, many of whom I don't get a chance to see regularly because of my uh, geography, living here in Michigan. And that's something that will be changing in the near future. I'm basically here after 4 years of caring for my dad as his life came to an end and passed here this last year, caring for him in our home on banks of the Osable River in a small town in northern Michigan. Many of you know this story, some of you don't. Uh, and then in the last year, I've been preparing to get back to Minneapolis. I took a trip there for about 2 months and I was hoping to uh, take a position in an architectural firm, or we were in conversation about that. But the circumstances of that arrangement didn't come to fruition, and I returned back to Michigan to kind of consider what's next for myself and actually look at the economics of the whole situation because that's something that looms large in my choices. Since I closed my firm many years ago, my employability has become a kind of a question mark in my mind. Um, Not many people are interested in hiring someone who's had their gig, their own firm, and ageism is an issue too. And so anyway, I've managed to find some work here on the internet after 8 months of searching. During the pandemic, I uh, I did find a really good relationship with a firm in Pennsylvania in the Pittsburgh area to be their chief designer for their larger projects, and I do that all from anywhere I want, which is very fortunate for me. So I'm doing that. I've chosen to work just about 20 hours, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending on the week, so that I can continue my other interests, which include primarily Scenius and creating Scenius in the future of a return to that great experiment. Many of you know, and this space that you see here on the screen is a manifestation of that. So uh, I think many of you have seen these pictures I've posted of this space, and it is a little shed, 14 by 14, right on the banks of the river. I can see up the river and to the west and down the river to the south. That's upriver, and the river bends around here and sweeps this way. And this was a project that I created for myself. This is the view to the south, looking downriver. When I came back here, I knew that I would probably get bored to tears or frustrated or angry about having to be my dad's orderly in his old age. Although that never really got me to a point of anger because my dad was, for me, a pleasant to be around because of our long-term strong relationship. But nonetheless, there were a lot of hours in between babysitting and while I was babysitting that I needed to fill with something. So a couple things that I did. One was I got a sailboat, which is docked right down below this. And then the other thing was I started to tear apart this 14 by 14 metal shed that I had done the foundation for when I was 16 as part of a drafting class project. And then it was built kind of a hybrid between a kit project and wood framing. But anyway, a low-pitched 14 by 14 shed. Maybe we'll come to some pictures from before as we go through this. And turn it into a place to hang out by the river, place where I could invite people to come for conversation. Its informal name has become the Situation Station. Scenius is prominently painted on the entrance, but in the Situation Station, people from all walks of life come to a place to sit around a fire and engage in conversation, listen to music, uh, and enjoy each other's company. Situation Station name came around because we're not interested in light conversation. It's basically, we are, but when you get here, the question often is what's your situation presently? What are you engaged in, and what's important to you? What's happening in your life? And these conversations, which are uh, go on often deep into the evenings, have rendered a lot of intimacy and understanding of the human condition and the other, and built friendships and relationships. So anyway, recently added this trellis piece to the shed, with its kind of dramatic cantilevers, and this outdoor kitchen barbecue area. The old fire pit in the middle here is still there. That's an old iron kettle that my brother gave to me from some ancient farm, I think. And up here you see an oar that I built for my sailboat. There's two of them here, but when they're not in use, I keep them stored up against the uh, shed where there's a frame for them to go into. And then on top of that, sort of an emerging uh, sphere made out of twigs and twine with a lighting effect in it to sort of present an emergent, to present a search for an emergent steeple symbol for what this is, which is a space in nature where a fire provides warmth and hospitality in the winter. In the summertime, not so much. Uh, that For humans. And here's an abstract presentation of a human. This wonderful timber. That's the mortise and tendon. That's I guess the tendon. I think the mortise is the female that it fits into. Beam, and then there's a little chiseled uh, a mortise in it for probably another post or beam or something. I'm not sure. Perhaps it's horizontal, probably. And then the crack happened in the wood, and it looks like some the to me it's sort of like a man with a top hat. I call him Abe Lincoln, with a broken heart. So anyway, here he stands on guard in the courtyard, looking into the space, and that's into the space. So this is the tree that he's sitting under, which is a very small tree that has been growing so slowly since I was a child. It was a bush when I was a kid, and now it's just a sort of bonsai type tree that never grows that much, but it's just elegant in the way it bends and creates a space. It's by itself in the yard, so it can grow to its specimen shape. Um, anyway, putting down pavers and creating a yard around the space with outdoor seating around the fire in summertime. And this bench over here looks up the river. It gets a lot more use in the warm weather, but now winter has come. In the warm weather, the doors open up a 3-foot door here and a 6-foot one there, and then the sofa that's in here slides out on a track, so that you can kind of live indoor, outdoor, and this canopy provides shelter from the rain, and in the summertime, so that the sense of the space is that the sense of the space, the space is indoor and outdoor, and at the back of it, it's very indoor, and at the furthest end, it's very outdoor, and in the middle, in this transition space, it's a little bit of both. So in a rainstorm, you can sit under the glass canopy and not get wet. You might get some drips on you or some splashes, but you're able to sit out there at the edge. I've uh, enjoyed sleeping on the bench, kind of in that transition space in the evening, as I often do spend the night here. Um, the van is still here. Those of you who know the Scenius van. Uh, Back has gone through several iterations, and I just recently painted it, took the canvases off the side. I built this ladder up to the roof frame a while back before I came here. I've got some plans for its evolution, which is I'd like to get a glassed-in area off the back that kind of gives it a winter opportunity to be indoor-outdoor. And this is a graphic that I've come up for Scenius that I'd love to get painted on there. And I like the way that's evolving. This is my new car. And the van, so the fleet is here. I have my first vanity plate. It says Scenius right up here. I'm sorry, I'm embarrassed about that. I don't know whether I should do that or not, but it seemed good advertising for the idea. And I think, is that it? No, it still goes. There's that logo. Again, Scenius is just the S here. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on that graphic. Sketching is still going on. Sailing is still going on. This is a long time ago. Gabriel and I out on Lake Michigan in Chicago on my friend Brian's boat. Art is everything you don't have to do. That's a quote by Brian Eno in his own hand here. Found this online. Martin Luther has a great pool. I don't know if he was a good player or not, but he probably was, because everything about his stance here is right. He's low on the stick. He's got a nice, good bridge. His elbow is perfectly on line with the stroke of the stick, and the concentration looks good. I bet you he was a good player. This is the studio. The senior shed goes through all sorts of iterations, but last winter was Craftsman winter. Was we moved inward, I took to drawing on wood with markers, and also leaving those out so that people could do it as well. This is a kit for a sailboat model that is remote controlled, but no motor. The wind moves it around as the motors that operate the sails exclusively. There's no propeller. It's not been built. Something I bought for Gabriel a long time ago, and we never assembled. And I'm hoping that someday it will get assembled. It's a big operation, actually. This keel is made out of lead. It really is heavy. So the thing should sail. They sail these in Central Park on the little lakes that they have there in regattas. And this is a poem by John Mansfield, who was an English maritime poet, a sailor and a poet. And it says, paraphrase it. I don't know if I can read it here. Let me see. No, but it says, man with his burning soul hath but a moment to build a ship of truth. For life takes its toll of all things, beauty, youth, but not truth. That's a misquote. For life takes its toll of youth and beauty, and all things but truth. Man with his burning soul hath but a moment to build a ship of truth, to sail the sea of death. For life takes its toll of youth and beauty, and all things but truth. Here's a shot of the interior of the space. Last winter, I put in a second stove over here, wood burner, and that's kindling of planks from pallets stacked up to be burned there in that box. Some of you may recognize it as from the Lake of the Isles um, installation for the Loppet Luminaire. And I put the wood in there to feed it in. Space that's looking downriver. The space has technology. That's a flat screen TV. The image is from the Montreal architect who did the Ashes and Snow installation that traveled the world. I made a desk out of an old glass French door panel that had broken. One of the panels was off, and the frame that I took off. And then old timbers that I made the frame with. I like the way it makes the reflection. It's like having a little reflecting pond as your desk. And because you can see through it in a small space, it seems to help keep the space feeling more open. Some more shots of the space. Some of the ink on wood drawings. Some photos from the old studio. Angela, Scenius intern of great import. It's my son Gabriel. This is a cup that a friend of mine gave me when I graduated from architecture school. And some more ink on wood. Some of you may remember the bench from the Loppet installation. That was the sculpture of my dad's as a Native American Indian. Everything is made from recycled products. I don't think I spent more than a few $100s in the space, totally remodeling it. These are old shelves that were abandoned from behind the Kmart store. These are pallets that you could find just about anywhere. An old canvas tarp, which is behind that to create that white line. Those are from some of the installations I made in Minneapolis. Old tarps, recycled boards. There's the glass desk. This was a nest I found in my brother's pole building where we were gathering recycled boards, and it was so well put together with all of its branches and twigs, but it was all cemented together with mud. Nicely designed human or animal nests. Here we go. Those futon covers are from Scenius. And these brown pillows. The other pillows are newer, but from the Scenius studio, believe it or not. This is a picture. When my father passed, I went through some of his paperwork, and I found this in that. I'd never seen it before, but this is my dad marching in the civil rights movement below at the state capitol in Michigan, or Minnesota rather. We lived in Minneapolis for a period of time, and I'm very proud of this picture to see the company that he kept and what he was about at a young age. More shots of the inside, outside looking upriver. That's a little box that you can dry wood in. Oh, here's a container building from earlier, from back in Minneapolis that never got built. Two containers that have a floor, a living room, kitchen, and dining room space supported by those two containers. I think this is actually a very good design that I'd hope to execute sometime. As a matter of fact, I'm talking with Marcus Carr about building something on a piece of property in the north side. And this is one of the things I would like to show him and think about with him. This is some flowers from the property in the summer. Imperfection and beauty in the made environment. What's the name for this? I forget. But the Asian cultures have learned to appreciate how look at how beautifully abstract this is. It is also made up of all these little parts and imperfect, inexpensive, recycled pieces. I absolutely love that. Anyway, a lot about this space, eh? There's the boat down by the river, and there's a little trip I took up northern Michigan, hoping to get all the way up to Lake Superior, but the weather did not cooperate, and I ended up staying in this harbor for some time. I built this Genoa out of an old canvas and made a little living room with a dining space outside on the boat. There's the inflatable behind it. Captain Kirk. I put the keyboard on the boat. Something interesting about playing the music late at night on a harbor somewhere. And I took the seating booth out and moved it out into the outside and turned this into a desk area where I could work and record. And I had found this chair at Goodwill, which I liked quite a bit. It had a swivel on it. I took the wheels off and put the post and mounted it. That's another Captain Kirk chair. There's Gabriel, that handsome bugger, looking back out of that cockpit towards the outdoor table in the Genoa. I never did finish wiring these lights. The old man passed, and many of you know that. I wrote this obituary for him, and maybe I'll read it if you can bear it. After a long and full life of 91 years, my father, Gilbert John MacDonald, took his last breath at 4 p.m. on July 23rd of 2020. The result of the gradual debilitation of late-stage Alzheimer's disease. Into the silence from whence he came, he returned. The river behind the house is a poem I wrote, standing looking at this river while I was taking care of my dad. This is the place where his line became dashes and then dots. And this is the place where my dots became dashes and then a line. My memory started here and his ended here as the river flowed by. Anyway, I won't read the whole thing. I love that man. He taught me much. Good and bad, but mostly good. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's long enough for a podcast for now. 24 minutes, 31 seconds. Thank you for listening if you got through this. I appreciate it. Leave comments. I'd like to know whether this was valuable, what you do differently, or whatever. Thumbs up, thumbs down. All right. Take care, my friends. Bye.